Hello everyone. In this video, we'll learn Fluery's algorithm, a simple method to find an Eulerian path or Eulerian circuit in a graph by carefully choosing edges while traversing the graph. Fluery's algorithm to find an Euler path or circuit. So Fluery's algorithm is used to find an Euler path or to find an Euler circuit. Before running the algorithm, always check graph conditions. Graph must be connected. Count vertices with odd degree. 0 odd degree vertices can have Eulerian circuit. 0 or 2 odd degree vertices can have Euler path. Every Eulerian circuit is an Eulerian path. An Eulerian path is a path in a graph that visits every edge exactly once, but does not have to start and end at the same vertex. Before running the algorithm, always check graph conditions. Graph must be connected. Count vertices with odd degree. 0 or 2 odd degree vertices can have an Eulerian path. For an example, in this graph, every vertex has a degree. A has the degree of 3, B has 2, D has 2, and C also has 3. So, to have an Eulerian path, there should be 0 or 2 odd degree vertices. In this graph, there are 2 odd degree vertices, A and C. So now we can find the Eulerian path of this graph using Fluery's algorithm. There are 5 steps when using Fluery's algorithm to find an Eulerian path of a graph. First, choose a starting vertex. Start from an odd degree vertex. So we have 2 odd degree vertices in this graph. We'll start from A. The second step is to, at each step, choose an edge such that the chosen edge is not a bridge unless it's the only option. A bridge is an edge whose removal disconnects the graph. So, if we are starting from A, we can go either to B or to D or to C. So if we go to B and we delete this edge, we still have a connected graph connecting all vertices. So we are starting from A, we are going to B, and we are deleting the edge between A and B, and we still have a connected graph. And again from B only has only one edge, that is to C, and we'll go to C. And after deleting this edge, B will be also deleted because there are no edges connecting to the graph. And then from C, we can either go to D or A. So if we go to D, and if we delete this edge, we still have an connected graph. And then we'll delete this edge. And then from D, we'll move on to A and delete this edge. And we have A and C. And from A, we'll go to C. So, we have traveled every edge exactly once, but we didn't have to start and end from the same vertex. So our Eulerian path is A, B, C, D, A and C. So in this graph we have traveled through every edge exactly once, but does not have to start and end at the same vertex. Now we'll move on to the Eulerian circuit. An Eulerian circuit is a circuit that starts and ends at the same vertex and uses every edge exactly once. Conditions for Eulerian circuit. A graph has an Eulerian circuit if the graph is connected, all vertices have even degree. For example, in this graph, all vertices are connected. The whole graph is connected together and all vertices have an even degree. A has 2, B has 4, E has 2, and etc. So, to find an Eulerian circuit, we can use Fluery's algorithm. So, there are again 5 steps to find an Eulerian circuit. Choose a starting vertex. Any vertex. You can start from any vertex in the graph. And then choose an edge such that the chosen edge is not a bridge, unless it's the only option. So we'll start from A and then we'll go to B. So if we delete that edge, we still have a connected graph. So our circuit starts A to B. And then from B, we can either go to D, to F, or to E. So if we move to E, so if we delete this edge, we still have a connected graph. So we'll move on to E and we delete this edge. So we have a connected graph and a circuit goes from A to B and then to E. From E, we only have one path, that is to D, and we'll go to D and delete this edge. So the vertex E is no longer connected to the graph. We can delete that edge. So our circuit becomes A, B, E, D. So now we are at D. Again from D, we can either go to C, to B, or to F. So if we go to C, and we delete this edge, we have two isolated graphs, which means this graph is no longer connected. So we can't go to C. So then we'll move on from D to B, since we cannot go to C. So we delete this edge and our circuit becomes A, B, E, D, and then finally to B. And again from B, we only have one edge, and that is to F. We'll go to F now. And we delete this edge. We can delete the vertex B too. And our circuit becomes A, B, D, B, F. From F, we can go to D and delete that edge. From D, there's only one edge connected to D, that is C. And we delete that edge. And from C, we can go to the starting point, which was A. Then we can delete the edge C. So our circuit becomes A, B, E, D, B, F, D, C, and then to the starting point A. So we have started and ended at the same vertex, and we used every edge exactly once. So that's an Eulerian circuit. So we traveled across every edge of the graph exactly once, and we started from A, and then went to B, and then went to E, and to D, and to B, to F, to D, to C, and to the starting point A. So that's an Eulerian circuit. I hope you all got a clear understanding about Eulerian path and Eulerian circuit, and to find those using Fluery's algorithm. Thank you everyone.